Today we're answering the age-old question, shark versus alligator. But first we're gonna start with sharks, and we're gonna start with that first pro. They have killer senses. So these guys can sense blood from miles away in the water, and they can also sense electrical currents given off by other prey. And sharks also have explosive speed. Great whites can reach up to 25 miles an hour when chasing their prey. Another one is bite force. Great white sharks have bite force of up to 4,000 psi. That is some serious stuff. And they have up to 300 serrated teeth that can just tear their prey to shreds. And we can't forget that sharks are ultimate survivors. These things have been around for over 400 million years and survived multiple extinction events. They do have a few cons. One being they are restricted to their environment. They have to be in salt water. They definitely cannot live on land. Another con is most sharks have to rely on movement. If they're not moving, they're not breathing, and that means they die. Now let's talk about alligators. These guys have barely changed in over 80 million years. So a pro for these guys is they do have a bone-crushing bite. These guys have over 2,000 pound PSI bite force, although that is half of what a great white shark would do. These guys are ambush predators. They wait right below the surface and strike just at the perfect time. Pro, these guys have a super thick, scaly skin. This stuff acts like body armor and does a really good job of protecting them. Another really good pro is these guys can live in both land and water. They're great hunters, great swimmers, and they can catch prey both ways, unlike sharks. A con for these guys is although they can get up to 20 miles an hour in a dash, they can't really keep that up for long periods of time. Alligators, like all reptiles, are cold-blooded. That can be another con because if it's not warm enough, they're not going to be able to move very well. So another con for these guys is they are freshwater. They cannot survive in salt water, unlike sharks. So let's imagine now what's going to happen if these guys actually get into a battle. Well, if it's on land, that's a no-brainer, right? The shark can't live, the alligator has all the advantage. But when we go to water, now I'm not really sure because I think that's going to be a pretty epic battle. Which one do you guys think would win that battle? Octopi versus chameleons. Now, even though these guys come from completely different areas, one in water and one is terrestrial, they do have a lot of similarities. Both of these guys are absolute masters of camouflage and can change the color of their skin as they need. Both of these are very highly intelligent and also very curious. They're able to interact with their surroundings and explore a lot of different enrichment type of things. Both of these are also very unique and very eye-catching. They're such cool, unique kind of creatures that you can definitely appreciate in a lot of different ways. One of the downsides that both of these animals share is unfortunately a very short lifespan compared to a lot of different animals and or pets. While they are amazing and we love them, you just don't get as much time with them as you really probably would like. One of the favorite things I love about chameleons is the way they hunt their prey and eat. They've got their two eyes that can move independently, which is really crazy, but then they have that super long tongue that shoots out and can get crickets all the way from the other side of the cage. One of the downsides to chameleons is they can be pretty delicate. You have to be super careful when it comes to the temperature and feeding and diet, so it's not the easiest thing to actually care for. So moving on to octopus. These animals have a very high intelligence. It's actually amazing what they can do. These guys are crazy escape artists. They are known to even open lids and get out of the smallest cracks that you wouldn't even have seen possible. This can make them very difficult to keep. Lionfish versus king cobra. Believe it or not, both of these animals are venomous. That is contained in their dorsal fins. So if that sticks you, you're gonna feel a lot of pain. What you can expect from that is a lot of soreness, redness, swelling, and it's gonna hurt really bad. I've been told from people who have actually been poked by those, you're not gonna die, but you might wish you would. Now the king cobras have a very potent neurotoxin, but it's not just the potency, it's the amount that they can actually pump when they do the bite. So they can actually pump a ton of venom in one bite. That venom will cause all kinds of neurological problems, from paralysis to respiratory failure, which will ultimately could lead to death. Some people say that the volume in a king cobra bite has even been known to kill an elephant. So clearly, the king cobra venom is a lot more potent and deadly than the lionfish. So I think the king cobra definitely won this battle.
The neon tetra could be arguably the best pet that you might be looking for. Super easy to take care of, coming in at a whopping 1 to 2 inches. You do not need a lot of space for these guys. What I will say, they are a schooling fish, so it's typically best to keep anywhere between 5 to 8, just because they do like that community feel. But it is a freshwater, so super easy to take care of, and all you need to really feed them is a couple of fish flakes. Next up, the poison dart frog. Now, these guys are super cute. Obviously, these are pretty tiny, so you would not need a large enclosure, but I would say to mimic the type of habitat that these guys have in the wild is pretty extensive. If you guys see what we've got in here, we have plants, we have a waterfall, we've got soil, we've got like a mister system, we got these crazy lights. Like, so there is really a lot more to these guys, but if you have the capability of keeping them at home, they are a perfect pet. Now, there are a couple things that make these guys a little bit more difficult. This is not as simple as just sprinkling some fish flakes every day. These guys typically like to eat fruit flies, small crickets, things like that. And although these guys are called poison dart frogs, in captivity, they actually are not poisonous at all. In the wild, they're only poisonous because of the type of insect that they eat. They are a lot safer than the name appears them to be. And although these guys are just as bright and just as beautiful as the neon tetras, I must say my vote has to go to the tetras. Anaconda versus arowana. Of course, these guys are the absolute beast of the rainforest. As you can tell, they are an absolutely massive snake and super strong. Not much is taking these guys out in the wild. Of course, with these guys coming in at about 16 to 18 feet and weighing over 300 pounds, this snake is an absolute beast. And these guys can easily eat deer, pigs, rabbits, turkeys, you name it, they'll eat it. Of course, after they grab their prey, they use their incredible strength, all these muscles to constrict their prey. That's how they finish them out. The arowana. And these guys are absolutely fast, leaping, jumping out of the water sometime to catch their prey. Absolutely crazy looking teeth, crazy looking fish, super fast, super agile. Now, in a tank like this, where they're with gar, catfish, I mean, they got a pretty good standing chance. But I'd say in a battle with an anaconda, my money's still on the anaconda. And next up, we have the curly hair tarantula. I will say these guys are one of my absolute favorite pets to keep. You do not need a big enclosure. Taking care of them is pretty easy. You just need to feed them once or twice a week, depending on the tarantula or spider that you have. Again, the heating, the lighting, it is all spider or tarantula dependent, but very easy to keep, and such an awesome pet to have. Super cool, right? And next up, the hermit crab. These guys are so cute, such an awesome animal to be able to have and keep at home. Oop, he's got a little scared. But again, a lot harder to take care of. This guy here is saltwater, so you have to have a special tank for him. These guys do grow out of their shells as well. You have to be able to have another shell that they can leave this one and go to another one. So again, quite a bit more work. So my vote is gonna go to the tarantula, but I mean, look at how cute and awesome this is to be able to have as a pet. We have another even larger hermit crab, which to me is way more awesome than any tarantula that you could find, but way harder to keep as a pet. You're gonna need a lot of water and salt water at that. And again, keep in mind, this guy is this big right now. Imagine finding another shell that he has to go into once he leaves this one. Sounds like a lot of work.
Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, there's a playlist that you can watch all kinds of videos. You can also hit that subscription button. It would mean a lot to me. Also, hit that like button while you're down there. Have a wonderful day, Reptile Army. Remember, be kind to someone, and I promise I'll see you in the next one.